think restoration is worth this much per linear foot, right? And then I think there was at least one state that tried to do a more open market system where you would actually have sort of bidding at some level about these types of reductions, and people would be able to sort of bid, and then you would get you would buy whatever it would be. So I think this is one of the many interesting things that the advisory council is going to have to deal with, which is how do you price it out? Because efficiency-wise, right, you want to price it high enough that people like farmers are willing to enter the system and be paid for this. Otherwise, trading doesn't really happen except between point sources, and that's not actually the most interesting part of the program, right? The most interesting part is dealing with agriculture and stormwater pollution. But you don't want to overprice it because people will get upset about having to pay for that too. So it's a difficult balance.
And, it's taxpayer money going to an individual, and who's going to make sure that that practice is installed correctly and so on. And that's one of the things I think that NRCS does a great job in. Every county has a state conservationist from NRCS. We also have conservation districts in every county in Arkansas. They are the ones that really certify whether people are eligible or not, whether these practices are needed on their particular farm. So if they have an agricultural producer has a contract with NRCS that a conservationist has gone out and verified these practices can be implemented and will conceivably have these reductions and improvements to water quality, then that is a contract that landowner is signing, that they will keep those practices in for a certain amount of time. That's on the contract for a certain number of dollars and so on. So could the cities then use those kinds of very measured practices and contracts and say, well, then we could pick up the other portion of it, that's the cost share portion that the landowner might have to incur? Or would there be something similar to, because there is pricing kind of established for a number of these practices. Could that be a model? But it will be very interesting how that works. And then another one of the models was where the wastewater treatment plants would pay kind of a fee into the bank, and then when they needed to buy credit, the bank would be either an association or an ADQ that would have someone that oversees these trades. They would say, much like the highway department does with mitigation efforts and things like that, and say, yeah, you need this many credits, pay us this, we'll give you that, and here's where that mitigation money is going to go. And so it's kind of a three-way trade, mediator in between, I guess, the traders.
Another question, just going back to mitigation damages on stream bank restoration sites. I don't know if this has been talked about at all, but maybe rules as to where you can place stream restorations, because if you go and place it in the middle of the stream section, but if you're talking about stream order, I would think you would need to start in the first order streams in order to make sure that you're not allowing too much water flow to get down to the middle. Just blow those things out. So, some of those upper areas being focused on first before you can actually move down to middle or later stage stream orders. I don't know if that's something that's been discussed.
I think that's a great point, and I think that's exactly what's happening as our cities grow and our creeks and streams only can hold so much. If we have impervious surface and we're not allowing that rainwater, it's going to go somewhere, and it's gathering speed and volume as it comes. And so those will be some of the first ones I would think that would also. And a lot of times those landowners, I know they come and ask us, are we eligible, but they're not agricultural producers. So while they have land or a stream and they need some of these practices, they aren't eligible as an agricultural producer. So I think that would be a help, and a lot of people I think would be interested between that intersection between the urban and the rural areas, right, that are experiencing that.
They're probably more endemic than the headwater areas of the Lockwood Stream too, as well. In my particular case, the land has been beneficially neglected for a half a century. So that's my particular situation. But,
That's awesome
I
that you
still
did
would
that.
like to see some wing dams or something like that, something to slow down this tremendous rush of water, which I've seen again, mostly off the mountainsides. That's not
Yeah.
evident comment. And when I came to this state, back to the state in 1942, I stepped into Crooked Creek above Harrison and went up to my middle because I thought it was only this deep. I haven't seen that kind of water in anything but one of the big recreational springs since then. And I've seen lots of fish parasites and fish flesh in places that I caught all around here in the 1950s in all these small springs, including the Barren Fork of Illinois,
Yeah.
which was crammed with spiral gyro, bloom and everything
Yeah.
at that time. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and Dr. Haggard's studies have shown, it's just a dramatic decline from 2003 to about 2013 is, I think, the last that I've seen some of the studies of results, but it's just dramatic how much, reduction there has
I'm
been.
glad you brought that up, because I went to that report, and
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Look at the positive impact of what's happened in the watershed.
Yes, in 10 years' time, I mean,
Right.
it's very dramatic. It's very much of a success story in terms of all the cities working together, getting a lot of the landowners, the nutrient management plans that are initiated in the watershed for phosphorus index that was developed. The University, Dr. Andrew Sharpley, I'm sure you know, is an international phosphorus expert.
What was the name of the guy from Oklahoma that was with Haggard at that meeting?
Gary Fox.
Gary Fox?
Yeah. That was the first complimentary words I've ever heard from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he did compliment the work of the
Yeah.
Oklahoma cities and all, and it was Gary Fox is the Oklahoma Water Resources
Right.
Center director.
Okay.
So he would be Brian Haggard's counterpart in Oklahoma. They gave a talk at the Watershed Sanctuary. So even the sanctuary there, this land had been for sale for 6 years, and there's a church right across from this little lake in Cave Springs that you've driven by there the church had been for sale for 5 years. So we were able, through the generosity of supporters of Walton Family Foundation, but then 12 of our local legislators gave of their general improvement funds to establish the Watershed Learning Center. So we spent the day outside with our watershed camps and a lot of good things going on tomorrow. We have 50 Walmart interns coming to do all kinds of projects.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
We're trying to find stuff for them to do. We've got, lots of stuff, but that's hard to keep that many folks busy. But tomorrow night's our first farmer's market in Cave Springs.
In Cave Springs?
Yeah, right there on our property. And we've got 4 raised agricultural beds where we're growing, we want to work with landowners, producers. And the best way for us to do that is share what they do, right? And we can share with them ways they can improve efficiency, improve production, all while, taking care of water quality.
Still, John Jevons' biodynamic gardening books are awfully good with that sort of thing. That the idea of the immense decline in sustainability at the time the last version of the book came out, was only 37 years of fertility was supposed to be left. And the idea is, of course, to create every bit of compost that you need from the land that you're actually working once you have gotten to the stage of remediation that it needs to
Yep.
make a productive plot.
Well, I learned a lot from Dr. Sharpley when I first came to the partnership 8 years ago, and it's interesting, phosphorus is mined out of Florida, it's trucked to the Midwest where it's applied to crops, corn and wheat primarily, corn, which is trucked here in the form of feed and grain that's produced in our chickens, so it's produced as a very nice fertilizer, but the phosphorus remains, right? So now it's gone circuitously, now it's in our watershed, and it's applied, and it doesn't dissipate like nitrogen, so you have to find a solution for it. And land application was a solution for a long time. Now that's not the solution. So we still need a certain level of phosphorus and nitrogen for production. A lot of that is taken to nutrient deficit watersheds, and there's already a market for poultry that came about voluntarily with poultry companies kind of subsidizing it for a while, but now it's hard to get poultry litter because farmers can get a lot of money for it.
Isn't it being shipped east Arkansas?
It's being shipped different
Different places?
Yeah, Kansas, but quite a ways now. I mean, it used to be fairly localized, you know, just outside the watershed, but not too far. But now they can get, it's demanding a price that can take it even farther, yeah. But to go back to that is, you hear some research say we only have 50 years of phosphorus left to be mined out of, you know, where its original sources are. But the fact is, it's not going away. So how can we renew it? How can we reuse it? Because that's an important.
For growth.
It is. It's an important mineral, and so we only have so many years of fertility left if we don't have phosphorus. But the good news is it can be reused, and how do we find ways to do that? So.
I have a question, as you were talking, so the TMDL, sort of the most complicated TMDL nutrient trading program I know about is Chesapeake Bay, right? So multiple states.
9 states.
Right, lots of sort of interesting dynamics there, EPA is involved. So I wonder if, so is Oklahoma, has there been a discussion in Oklahoma about a cross-state nutrient trading program on the Illinois River watershed?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Because that would seem to be the logical step, right? I mean, if you want to treat the watershed as a whole.
Yes. We've got to work together with our friends in Oklahoma.
Is there any, your association, the Aubrey Watershed Association, have they come up with any ideas for the acid problem in the water?
Well, as a matter of fact, there's a study going on right now. Some guy from Purdue is doing an evaluation of increasing acidity in the river. The suspicion is pine needles and also acid rain coming in from the coal plants in Oklahoma. Now,
Yes,
I don't know where it's coming from, but there is a problem, and Philip Wolf, who works for the university, got the money, and the research is going on right now. We've just set ourselves up as a stream team at Mona River Society, so we're going to start hopefully getting some volunteers and start doing some systemic evaluation of water quality. But we're just talking. Talk cheap.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite things that I saw at the very beginning of when I began working with the partnership, we have 6 stakeholder groups. So we have agriculture, business, conservation, construction, government, and the technical research fields. And we have 30 board members, so about 5 board members from each of those 6 categories. It's a big board. And 2 of our board members, one, Jay Hale from the Ozark Highlands group of the Sierra Club here, and Gene Farr, who's a farmer in Lincoln, Arkansas, came together and they made dibble bars of the very first dibble bars we used in our riparian project. They came together and soldered the pieces of metal and iron together, and as I was driving here tonight, I thought, I see the problem with those dibble bars, because now most of the paint is off of it, or they were painted in bright orange, you know, and they've been used so much to plant trees. But I just feel like in our watershed, you know, people have really tried to come together to address these issues in a very proactive, positive way. And that, to me, speaks volumes, that they said, here, let's go plant some trees together. And then somebody said, well, we need dibble bars. And they said, okay, well, let's make some. We looked up how much they cost, you know, $35 a piece. Well, they could make them for $18. So here we go. And they, you know, they did our first 18 in a shop that Jay Hale had, you know. And so those are the kind of things that we want to continue to see happening between stakeholders and people who live here in the watershed. And we don't want anybody getting shot over this or, anything like that.
Well, your construction, do you have people on the board who are construction people? How many do you have involved?
So, Tom Hopper from Craftsman's Falls, Patrick Kenny from Baldwin Shell, Hunter Haynes, you all probably know, HCH Consulting. So some of the larger construction firms as well as smaller. Gosh, there's got to be 5 of them, and I can't think of the others right now.
Well, that's wonderful, because educating those people to use low-impact development methods voluntarily, because the city of Fayetteville still, although it passed those regulations, they're an option. And basically that means taking out the fewest trees, not removing the absorbent soil and putting red dirt down, but using methods that will avoid that. And that's so important that, the siltation, and now where they build these houses, people don't have that black rich prairie soil anymore for things to grow in, so they do fertilize, and they add a little topsoil and fertilize it, and then plant things, and keep spraying it and mowing it down and, fertilizing more. So you're getting, the city's doing more damage than the farmers are now, I believe, in this part of the state.
A lot of times it's the size of, unintended consequences, right? We're all doing it, and that's why if everybody does a little bit, it really does help. It makes a tremendous. And native plants are one thing we do a lot of education about in our rain gardens and things. But this is a list of native plants, and native plants can withstand drought as well as wet seasons better than non-native plants. And their roots can go down 15 feet, and help that water, really absorb into the soil.
In a 1926 or so book, Flower and Folly, the author said that we will be living from trees more than we realize, and be warned of the dangers of the wholesale approach to agriculture that we pursued all these years. Because the trees bring up nutrients from much farther down, and the topsoil needs to be amended more if you go over and over with everything with what it needs, not the alternative. It's a real challenge, but it's thrilling too.
How can we work together, or how would you guys like to do anything? How can we help you? What you need from us?
How do we stay connected with the activities that your partnership's doing?
I think the question is more, what do you need from us?
Oh, that'd be awesome. So one of the things we're looking at is people to adopt rain gardens, and we're working on 5 trailheads along the Greenway that will have low-impact development features. The first one in is at Rogers Mercy Trailhead. Then we'll have one in Johnson, one at Gordon Long Park in Fayetteville. That might be something if you guys would like to adopt that at Gordon Long. They're buying some land next to an apartment building and increasing the parking lot there, but we're adding forest neighbors as well as more trees and the bioswale and rain gardens. But it's low maintenance, so it's not no maintenance. So it does take some weeding and mulch and watering if there's not available water, especially to get the plants and trees established. And so that would be awesome. We hope to install the one at Gordon Long Park in the fall. But we have rain gardens there on that list in that green infrastructure brochure. There's a number of them in Fayetteville.
That's great.
And in Fayetteville is where people live, or Johnson or Springdale or other places. There's several in this, and this is really just the Illinois River watershed. There's 30 more rain gardens in the Beaver Lake watershed, including 5 on the Fayetteville campus. And all of those can use, adoption.
How often do you recommend maintenance on rain gardens?
Really about twice a year. I mean, it'll grow, that's all. I mean, it'll grow weeds, and you can go out and, make it as perfect as you like, and you could do it more frequently than that.
We do it once in the spring, once in the fall.
Yes, yes, and mulching really basically once a year. Weeding twice a year, mulching once a year. Yeah.
Well, the thing about the rain garden instructions that are used, handed out, and shared, the main thing is if you have an acre and you make your rain garden in the lowest corner of that acre instead of somewhere else on there, you get a natural flow there, and chances are it's a wet area already, it's going to be absorbent. So all you might need to do is put a little dam across it. And after 2 years of not mowing it except in the winter, once in the winter, you'll have native plants if that soil's left there. I can show you places like that all over this area where when the farmers started holding their cattle off, stopped mowing for hay and put them up for sale, and then the big bust came a few years ago and they couldn't sell for development, guess what? The wildflowers were crazy out there. Little blue stem and big blue stem and Indian grass, all those things came up like crazy. And the only thing suppressing them is summertime mowing, or mowing between, say, March the 1st and December the 1st. Should not happen. That's that simple. And mulch, you know, I know people love it, but if you go on one of these natural